Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
Good Deal Properties versus Lewis Garrett, 25-08209. Here's for the record.
Kristin Simmons, Good Deal Properties, 58192.
Okay, and you are,
Yeah, Lewis.
who is this?
Mr. Markovich, owner of Good Deal Properties.
Okay, you can have a seat. We're not going on the record, correct? We're not doing a hearing today.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you just need a new date.
I think so. Mr. Lewis is seeking counsel. I think we originally had a settlement agreement kind of worked out, but then there was a term that was obviously, there was some discrepancy, so.
A settlement agreement of which kind?
Your Honor,
No, I'm asking the attorney, give me what kind of settlement agreement? A conditional dismissal or a consent judgment?
It would be a consent judgment. We were going to allow them to stay in the property and so forth. The parties have worked it out themselves. I had no part of it. And then when we got here today, apparently there was one aspect of it.
That was concerning for, okay, what's the
Yes.
issue, sir?
so I gave a lump sum as a settlement to the landlord.
You've paid a lump sum since when?
That was just 2 days ago.
How much?
$4,000. This was for an agreement, a verbal agreement that me and the landlord had came upon about a week prior, with that being a settlement for him to dismiss this case this week. So prior to
You paid $4,000 with the understanding that that would dismiss this case?
no, ma'am, we had an agreement that it would.
That's what I'm saying, that means
Yes,
with the
ma'am.
understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
There's already an agreement. Did he take the $4,000?
You take $4,000.
You can come up. State your name for the record.
Andrea Marte Markovich.
Okay, you had an agreement with him to accept $4,000 to dismiss this eviction?
No, we have an agreement that we would get a consent judgment, whereas the balance of the $10,300, which I'd give him up to like 2 years to pay for. And then
Is that what you came up with today with the attorney?
no, this is what we talked about before the attorney got involved.
A consent judgment?
Yeah, the agreement is what we.
No, you said a consent judgment. You talked to them about consent judgment prior to the attorney getting involved?
Yeah, well, we
No,
talked about.
yeah, no, well, you talked to him about a consent judgment prior to the attorney getting involved.
No,
You use those, thank you.
the term I guess I'm using incorrectly. So the agreement is that he would get up to 2 years to pay the balance of the $10,300 after he paid the $4,000. And then from there, he could stay in the building for till May 30th to give him plenty of time to move out of the building.
This is a verbal agreement you had?
No, Your Honor, what the verbal agreement we had was that I would pay a lump sum on the back, which would erase the back, and then going forward up until May 30th, he would require me to pay the rent or not. I agreed
How
to
did you
it.
all discuss this agreement?
We was over the phone, but I also sent him a message stating everything that we said over the phone, and I
You sent a
gave-
text message?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a copy of the text message?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yes.
I don't have a copy of it.
I didn't ask you if you had a copy of it. This is what is a screenshot?
Yeah.
Per our verbal agreement, I am sending payment based on your agreement to cancel the pay to quit hearing scheduled for February 18th, 2026 with Judge Kristin Simmons. If you do not intend to cancel the hearing, please do not accept the payment. Did you receive payment yesterday?
I have received payment.
Did you accept the payment?
It came through, but it hasn't.
That's
hit
not my
bank.
question. Did you accept the payment?
He owes me money. Why wouldn't I?
Okay. Show me where you sent this because it's a screenshot.
Okay. The secretary actually sent it, but
Who's secretary?
mine.
What do you mean your secretary?
She handles the payment and everything, so she sent me what she was sending to him.
No, the text message? So the text message came from your secretary's number? Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Okay, and is your secretary here?
No, she's not, but I can have her present.
You're gonna need to bring the secretary with proof that she sent this message. If he brings me some proof that that message was sent, this is dismissed. He entered into an agreement and he accepted the payment. I don't believe that he talked about a consent judgment before you. He's not even giving me a straight answer, which makes me lack credibility with him. I don't trust anything comes out of his mouth at this point. Because when I ask a direct question and you try to play me, then I don't trust you anymore. I asked him very clearly, did you talk to him about a consent judgment? Yes. Do you think that I think that he talked to him about the words consent judgment? I do not.
I use those words.
Yeah, I know you do. That's why I asked before the attorney got involved. But I know he didn't do that. Do I believe that he entered an agreement with him prior to you becoming involved? Absolutely. He accepted the payment under these conditions, if that's what the text message says. It very clearly says, if you don't accept this, do not receive don't take the payment. He accepted the payment, so that means that he has entered into an agreement, because that's how contracts work, isn't it? You put the terms and conditions, you accept by accepting the payment.
Hasn't hit my bank account yet.
Doesn't matter, you accepted the payment. And so I'm gonna have him bring proof that that was sent. You obviously got the link, because I see the above where the link says that it was sent from that same number on the screenshot. He can bring or have your assistant, whoever it was, log into Zoom for the next court date. The two of you all are gonna appear in person. If he provides proof, this case is dismissed. February 25th at 9:45. February 25th at 9:25. Do you have any questions for the court?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record?
No, ma'am. Or actually, as far as case being dismissed, when will be my notice to get out? Because it's a commercial property and I have a lot of things in the building, so I need to know exactly what I would need to make.
You all can work that on. You already worked out this. This case is dismissed. You would either have to refile or you all have to work something else out. Because he accepted if what you're saying is something you can prove, then he accepted agreement to dismiss the case if after he takes his $4,000. At 9:45. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good Deal Properties versus Derek Lewis, 25-08209. You're on that side, you're on that side. Council appearance.
Adam Christensen on behalf of Good Deal Properties, to be number 5892.
Your name, please.
Derek Lewis.
Okay, Mr. Lewis, I think this was a second date reset because I think you represented to the court last time that you had a agreement with the plaintiff that if you pay or if he accepts $4,000, that the case would be dismissed. You were supposed to be providing evidence of that agreement and then evidence that you paid $4,000.
I have
You can show it to them.
This just says it's $4,000 was paid to the civil division, but.
Well, I got an email yesterday about an escrow. I didn't know why I was getting an email about an escrow. Where's the email or the text message that he said if you paid $4,000 in escrow?
Oh, no, it didn't say an escrow, but
On February 24th.
I don't have an email. What happened was, it told me that the payment was blocked. I don't know why it would have been blocked. It would have been blocked on my end. I also brought evidence to show that.
That the payment was blocked. But you do have a message that was is supposed to demonstrate that there was an agreement?
Yes.
Where's the text message? And if you think I can read a text message off of a Zoom, off of a TV, I can.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean,
Do you have plenty of time to have them send it to you?
oh, I had the text message, but you said a screenshot wouldn't suffice, so she needed to come on Zoom, but I didn't understand.
Does she receive the text message?
Yes.
You have a screenshot?
Yes.
I mean, is that what you showed me last time?
Mhm.
He showed you the screenshot?
I'd like to review it.
Yeah, you can, I don't remember. You can show it the plaintiff's attorney. I think the issue was you said that she made the payment or something to that.
Yeah, so she sent the message that
Okay.
got accepted.
She sent the communication and the payment, or you sent the payment?
So she sent the communication and the original payment. So when I
Okay.
called up to the courts and told them that I got a message that the payment is blocked, and I asked them, what should I do? She
Got it,
even got a
okay.
supervisor and said, this
You
is
can
fresh.
show him what the communication is.
You can send it to me again. I'm going through all of these messages. I don't know.
Can you get me his phone, please?
Yes.
Okay, this is a text message, it looks like here. This was sent on February 17th, a communication between the two. This is per our verbal agreement. I am sending payment based on your agreement to cancel the pay to quit hearing scheduled for February 18th with Judge Simmons. If you do not intend to cancel the hearing, please do not accept the payment. And so he did not accept the payment, correct?
No, that was the other part of the screenshot that
What
said
other
the
part?
landlord accepted. Oh, I'm sorry. We looked at it last year. I can pull
But
it
you
up
just
for
told me it was blocked.
Yeah, so he accepted, and as it was going through, because even in court, he said, well, I haven't gotten it. So I called the courts to ask them how can I make sure that he gets this payment, because that's rather pertinent for getting the judgment. But it came back with a message stating that the payment was blocked. I got that as well.
You can show me what you have.
Here's the ledger from when I sent the payment, stating that money was in the account that the payment was sent.
So you send it through some mechanism, you have to show him.
Oh,
You send it through some mechanism, they have to accept it.
correct.
And then,
So they chose to accept it. I'm sorry.
but at the time of the last court date, he had not accepted it.
No, he had accepted it. So that's why you said as long as you show me the text message when you come back in, it's dismissed because you've accepted payment. per
He
the
told you that?
contract. No, that was what you said. The last
No, well, it can't be accepted and then rejected. I don't think, how can you accept the payment and then reject it later?
I'm not sure if it was because of the banking institution or if he called to stop payment on the banking institution. I just know that they said landlord has accepted your payment. So when I called the court to
That's what
tell
I'm
them,
looking for. I'm not looking for something, okay, is that what it says, payments canceled?
no, so payment canceled, I was just showing the difference. So the payment canceled was when the payment actually got canceled because it timed out, because he didn't accept it in time. So that's just showing the difference
So
between
he
someone
didn't accept
blocking it and somebody's canceling.
So he didn't accept the payment. You have a witness raising her hand. Did she want to say something? Ma'am, what's your name?
Shy
For
test.
the record? Let me have you raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, why are you raising your hand?
So the initial payment, I just sent another screenshot of that, said that he accepted it on the 17th. It said that the payment was canceled because my identity wasn't verified based, I guess, on the amount that I initially tried to send of the $4,000. And I have documentation of that as well.
She said she just sent you another screenshot. And the past due alleged amount is how much?
14,700. 14,300.
Okay, so this agreement was not just for you to pay $4,000 and it resolved the balance, just to cancel the eviction, is what you're saying?
No, so the agreement was so that we didn't have to come back to court because I informed them that I would be countersuing as well. So that number wasn't going to be that number. So I asked them for a settlement number in order to pay. And
Where's the
have it resolved.
communication for that?
That was the verbal agreement that I told you about the last year.
So you were gonna file a countersuit for what?
Unlawful lockout during business hours because it came with a padlock on
You got
the.
locked out of the property
Correct.
during the eviction?
No, before the eviction, it was just basically send money and I'll give you the code to the lock or
Oh, okay. What else?
damage to the property due to the maintenance of the building. The roof is caving in and it has a hole in the ceiling, so my property has been damaged.
The roof is caving in. There's a hole in the roof
Yeah, there's an actual.
presently?
Yes, yeah. It's snow comes in.
What else?
Varmints from raccoons that got into the hole of the roof because he used a hubcap to cover the chimney block. So raccoons got in there and knocked things off some shelves and also caused more damage. No plumbing, so it floods. Anytime that the water is on, I have to take a bucket in order to get water in order to flush the toilet.
Okay, so you were gonna do a countersuit is what you told him, and then that's why you say based on our verbal agreement. Okay. Did you want to respond?
But as far as I know, the agreement was between the parties was that he would accept $4,000. The $10,300 that was remaining would be paid over time. The defendant would be allowed to stay another 3 months.
You're talking about what you try to negotiate though.
Well,
What about this agreement that he didn't involve you in?
I guess Mr. Markovic would have to testify to that, Your Honor,
Raise your right
because
hand.
I know what he communicated to me.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury.
Yes.
Okay. He told you he was countersued, correct?
He said that while we were up here, on the
No,
18th.
before we ever came to court. You had a phone conversation with him?
Never said anything.
You never
about
had a
conversation.
phone conversation with him?
I have had a phone
What,
conversation with him.
what day was that? It was
The
the,
17th.
you had a conversation with him on the 17th, the day before
I've had
court?
multiple conversations. You have to be specific.
On the 17th. You had a conversation with him, which is the day before court.
I don't remember if I had a conversation on the 17th. I can't
Okay.
remember which
Do you
day
remember
it was.
having a conversation prior to court about how you can resolve this?
Yes,
Okay. And did he offer $4,000?
I offered. That
You offered $4,000?
I offered if he gave me $4,000, the remaining 10,300 he can make payments on the next 2 years. And then after that, I'll give him 90 days and still had to pay the existing $1,700 a month until March or May 30th to move out. So he had plenty of time to move out because he's worried about no place to go. And I give him cheap rent for what he gets.
Okay. I don't believe you told him. I believe that the attorney came in and advised you because you hired an attorney, but then you tried to negotiate without the attorney. I believe the attorney is the one who came in and intercepted this because I see a text message from this man sent to you, or it could have been from her, but nonetheless, per our verbal agreement, I don't see anything in response to you saying that wasn't our agreement.
I had Ed send over the agreement on the 17th.
You sent over what agreement?
What I just stated to you.
How did you send it?
Well, I asked Ed to send him an email.
You didn't talk to Ed.
Yes, he did.
You talked to the attorney on 17th?
Yep, so
Before or after? You talked?
after I talked to him, so I talked to Mr. Markovic and I said, I sent the money. Did you receive the money? He says, yes, I got that. I accepted the money, or I accepted to receive the money. Obviously, I hadn't hit his account.
Okay.
So I said, well, can you give me the paper that states that we're not going to court so I can file on my behalf as well? I don't just leave it to their responsibility. He says, yes, here's my attorney's number. So I called the attorney and me and him talked and he says, oh, you guys came up with an agreement? I said, yes. He said, what did you guys come up with? I said, I give him $4,000 and $1,700 a month I have to pay rent on time. Okay, well, that means I'm gonna send you a document for you to sign.
So $4,000 and then $1,700 a month, was that already your rent?
So the rent was $1,200
Okay.
and then it went up to $1,700 once he
Okay,
got
so
it.
your agreement was you were gonna pay $4,000 and agreed to pay $1,700 a month, and then he would dismiss the eviction.
Correct,
So you were waiting for paperwork from the attorney,
correct.
and then what happened?
So then, not even 2 minutes later, Andy calls again and states, oh, my attorney brought it to my attention. We never discussed the rearage. I said, what are you talking about? That's what the settlement is for. Why would we not discuss the rearage? We didn't discuss the rearage because it was a settlement. Oh, no. Now he brought it to my attention. I wouldn't accept that for back rent, blah, 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 blah. But now you already have the money and you have an agreement. So now you're trying to figure out a way.
Yeah, and then his attorney told him to reject the payment. I believe his story, I don't believe that one.
I didn't.
No, I believe that he had an agreement with Tim, they didn't involve you. which you have no business doing when you have an attorney, but you did it. And then you can put your hand down. And then after he's waiting for paperwork that memorializes this agreement he just entered into, you spoke to him, and that's why he was candid and said, oh, my attorney brought it to my attention that I didn't address X, Y, and Z. I believe that's what happened. I believe that he entered into agreement and didn't address all the things that he thought he was addressing. I believe that.
Yeah, it was an incomplete,
Yeah.
an incomplete agreement. And
No, it wasn't an incomplete agreement. Agreement is agreement. They had an agreement. He didn't address all the things that he would have liked to have addressed because he wasn't being counseled. But he took that upon himself when he spoke to this guy to have an agreement. He just said, talk to my attorney.
I don't disagree with that, Your Honor, but it's that 10,300 still has to be addressed somewhere.
Not if you have an agreement.
Well,
You can have an agreement that I'm not gonna, we have it all the time in here. You can have an agreement that I'm not gonna address it. If he said the agreement is I'm gonna pay $4,000 and he makes a reasonable assertion as to why it was that way, because I'm countersuing for unlawful eviction. He said he was locked out of the property. He said that there was damage to the property, that he has no plumbing, that there's a hole in the roof, that raccoons have gotten there. We can proceed with the hearing and see if there's a rear issue. We can do that. He can bring evidence of these issues. He can bring evidence of whether or not he was locked out of his property unlawful, which would wash this eviction. He can bring evidence that he's been dealing with habitability issues if he wants to proceed that way. Or he can do countersuit if that's what he wanted to do. I don't think he's filed a countersuit, but he can use that to abate it. If that's what he believes he has an argument for. But he's saying that he's told your client this, and that was the reason why your client was willing to make the agreement that they made to wash the countersuit.
first time hearing that, Your Honor. So, I spoke with him for a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I didn't hear anything about any counter.
You have evidence of the things for your countersuit?
Yeah, I do. I have the unlawful lockout. I have a picture with the lock and his name. Call me now.
When did he lock you out of the property?
What was the date of that? She has the records of that. I'll give it to her.
You have evidence
August 5th, I believe it
of
was.
August 5th?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
August 5th. I have the text where he sends me the code to unlock the door after he was sent payment.
So it was a shakedown. I'm gonna lock you out the property until you give me money. When we have a lawful eviction process, and your client can't do that. That's the first you're hearing of this, counsel?
I haven't heard any
Okay.
of these counterclaims, Your Honor, so.
Okay, well, at this point, it's a defense because he hasn't filed a counterclaim. And you all are disputing this agreement, so we're gonna see if it's abated. What is the evidence that you have for damage to the property and the roof issues? Okay, I'm gonna go off the record. You go get your evidence together because you're taking up entirely too much time. You should have had this together because I reset this. I need to see pictures or anything that you have that you believe supports your claim that you've been dealing with issues of conditions of the property. That also gives you all an opportunity to go ahead and see if you can negotiate this one last time, because if I have to make a ruling, somebody's leaving here upset. Are you all ready? Okay, we're back on the record. Did you come up with your evidence or did you all have a resolution? No resolution, correct?
No, we
Okay.
can come up to it.
Okay. Give me just a moment. You showed them the alleged evidence?
Oh. I mean, it kind of turned into like a little bashing when we got back here to state that he locked me out because he couldn't go. Yes. Email
Okay.
communication and everything. So I don't think he needed to see the lockout.
You should have to show him.
Oh.
No, or his attorney.
That's all.
Okay. What about the damaged property? You have evidence of that?
This is what we use. Because it's inadequate plumbing, it's not supposed to be in commercial property. This is the ceiling. This is the garage door that's falling down there. Asked for many times. When I brought these up to the client, he informed me that that's not the commercial property work, it's on the tenant to take care of maintenance of the routine maintenance. I understand changing the light. It's not my responsibility to put a roof on.
Can you get his evidence, please?
Yeah.
Okay, what am I looking at, sir?
So those are the tiles that are knocked down because of animals and things getting into the hole that's in the roof.
You have a picture of this hole?
I don't think so.
And what was you saying about the bathroom?
So the bathroom, I have a picture in there of that as well. That's the plumbing. It's a hole in the plumbing, so we have to turn off the main water valve in order to not have the place flood. If it's flooded plenty of times because of the type of plumbing we have.
What do you mean the type of plumbing?
I was told by someone that's
Okay,
familiar
don't
with
tell me
plumbing.
don't tell me what someone else told you.
Oh, sorry. Well, it's not adequate. I was trying to figure out why the place kept flooding, and they said that's not the type of plumbing that's supposed to be in a commercial building that has no installation.
What is this black stuff on the wall? Is that
Um,
mold?
probably, I would assume.
Did it flooded in there?
Yeah, multiple times.
Any other pictures?
No, here's the picture of the code and the text message.
You said the roof it is caving in,
Yeah.
but you don't have a picture?
I don't.
Did you talk to him about the roof?
Yeah, many a time.
Okay, what is this that I'm looking at?
Oh, so that's the text message with the code for access to the
Oh,
building.
that was back in August.
Understood. And then if you kind of swipe up and go to photos, you'll see the lock and the phone number written on the door.
What kind of business are you running out of here?
It's an e-commerce automotive parts, so we do a lot of shipping and warehousing.
Show me where you communicated with him about the hole in the roof.
It was over the phone as well.
When?
Once last year, once this year, I don't know exact date.
So the
It's an
hole in the roof
ongoing
is not
issue.
new.
No, it's an ongoing issue.
Like, how big is this hole?
I want to find it for you because I actually had someone come up and caulk those holes. Let's see.
Is the young man-
I had the hubcap that was used to cover the hole as well as the hole in my records back when I fixed it.
And the young lady you have there, she works for this company as well?
Yeah. And
Okay,
She was
and she is aware also of the condition of the property?
yeah, she has pictures in her possession as well, and she may have the whole picture.
Well, then she needs to send it to you, because I can't see it through the Zoom. If she in fact has evidence, now is the time to present it. I'm not adjourning this anymore. You ready, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, come back up. Show them the evidence.
Evidence that I have is the hubcap that was once placed there, and I had a relative come and get the hubcap down in order to fill the hole. The angle of the actual hole, you can't really see the hole anymore because we patched it up. This is evidence that he came out to fix it as well as
It was, who came to fix it?
my brother.
When? How is this evidence that he came to fix it if it doesn't tell you when?
Because it's a text message, but I just took the picture out of the text message so it would be easier to
Okay,
refer to.
got it.
Found the cat June 24th, so it would have been fixed the week of that.
June 2026, 25,
24.
2024. And it was fixed in June of 2024? So is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Why are we talking about it now then?
Because it was damaged.
Oh, what was the damage to?
Raccoons got in and knocked things off the shelf, including headlights, because I keep headlights on the shelf.
So there was damage to some headlights and equipment?
Yes.
And how much was that, did that cost?
I never replaced it, but I would just do what the headlights sell for.
Okay. How many headlights are we talking about here?
Wasn't very many. 3.
Okay. An estimate of how much those go for?
Anywhere from between low end 300, high end 750.
Okay, so you're not, okay. Any other damage or issues?
Flooded damage to electrical components that were in boxes and it flooded.
You said it flooded in there? When was the last time it flooded?
I have no recollections. Last year, maybe.
Okay, how often have you dealt with flooding?
Usually once a year, typically. Something in that plumbing breaks.
So it's plumbing related, not like weather related?
No, it's plumbing related.
And to your knowledge, that plumbing issue's not been addressed? Okay, what else, sir?
Storage of his things on the property that I'm renting. I asked him to remove them. He said that they never been a problem before he sued me. And now they're becoming a problem.
He sued you?
Now, yeah, this hearing, him
Oh,
suing me. He said
for what?
He's suing me now, but I was saying that his vehicles have been on the building that he's renting me. So he's telling me that it's okay for his vehicles to be on the property that he's renting me because it's never been a problem with me before, and I have somewhere to park. But I still don't feel like I should pay rent for his vehicles to be stored where he's
Vehicles,
charging
how many
rent.
vehicles are you talking about?
He has about 5 vehicles on the property.
He stores 5 like work vehicles?
I don't know if it's for work or pleasure or leisure.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. What type of vehicles are you talking about?
So he has an older vehicle that wasn't running that he removed a week prior. Mine just been there for years. He removed that a week prior to us going to court. I have a photo of that. He has his own personal vehicle that's been there, and he has an RV, a mobile home on the property as well.
Okay, what else?
Oh, heating bills.
I'm sorry?
Heating bills being inflated due to not having any installation in a hole in it.
And you provided him evidence of this?
I told him in the year that the lease was signed that I received a $5,000 heating bill from Consumers Energy due to the type of furnace that he has is equipped for an efficiency apartment. The guy thought it was actually a typo, and Consumers Energy came out and said, no, it's due to the furnace. So the furnace never turns off because it's not the type of furnace that should be in commercial. So we haven't been able to even use the furnace because he never replaced the furnace. So we run electric heaters all the way through the winter with no roof.
With no roof? Okay. Let me see here.
as well as
When
the
did you move
lease.
in this property again?
Twenty 13, I believe.
2013?
I believe so.
You've been there for some time. So since 2013, the furnace hasn't been replaced? 13 years?
Nothing has been replaced in the building at all. Like, you have to touch that. But he claims it on.
So when you moved in, there wasn't a hole in the roof, but it became a hole over time?
No, the hole was there, and I asked him what it was. And
Oh.
he told me it was a hubcap, same hubcap that was there. So that hubcap had been up there before we replaced it, or rather before the raccoons knocked it down and we replaced it to get it moved. Maybe 10 years. So what he told me was that the tenant prior to me had a wood burning fireplace, that it needed a chimney roofed up. So for those chimneys, you buy a cap that caps it off so things can't get in it. He had a 1957 Chevy hubcap flipped over invertedly to cover that hole, which, I mean, it just didn't hold up. Also, I have this generic lease that I don't know what's going on with. I don't have a signature of it. This is what they sent me for court records, but I never even signed a lease in my personal name. He knows that because I actually asked him advice back then on that. I said that I was having a business in my business name and I wanted to put it under my LLC.
Okay,
which
so you
my
never
sense-
signed a lease?
No, I signed the lease then.
Oh,
Yep, I
just
signed the
not in
lease
your
then.
name.
I did not sign it in my name.
Got it.
Hence why we have a lease that's unsigned, because it's suing me.
Got So where did you get this paperwork from?
This was the paperwork that came with the court paperwork.
Oh,
that
so
he
you're saying
presented.
that the lease that was attached to the court paperwork is not the actual lease?
Not the lease that I signed.
What else, sir?
That's it for me, Your Honor.
You can have a seat. You can respond. You can have a seat.
Thank you. So appreciate that.
You can respond.
That is true, Your Honor. I asked if we could, if this lease was, I think, signed in 2014. I couldn't get a copy of the signed lease by both parties, so I attached what both parties did sign, but it's obviously not the lease with the signatures on it. So I did the best I could to, it's a very generic, very simple lease, Your Honor. It's obviously, it looks like something that was probably crafted by Mr. Markovitz himself. But in any event, commercial buildings, the tenant is responsible for utilities. The reason there is water apparently problems in this building is because there isn't any heat in this building.
There is no heat in the building?
Yeah, well, as far as I know, the utility company has never turned on the heat in that building for 10 years.
At least 10 years, yeah.
So,
You mean the utility company never turned on the heat in the building? He said he got a $5,000 bill.
That's prior to the 10 years. So early on, when he first got into the place, he got a real high heat bill. So I went ahead and insulated the ceiling for him at my own expense.
I can see where those things are down. It looks like there's some, in those pictures, there was some insulation there.
Yep, there's a lot of insulation. It cost me a lot of money.
Yeah, but what about the furnace issue?
The furnace is the same furnace that's in there. He just doesn't turn it on.
This is the furnace that was supposed to be for an apartment, correct?
It
A
worked
residential
fine.
unit?
It worked fine before he got into the
I'm not
building.
asking you how far, when it worked fine. That's not my question.
Oh,
This is a unit that's supposed to be for residential use.
no, this is a commercial furnace and it was set up for commercial property.
And
And
prior to 2013.
yeah, prior to 2050, it was all installed long before that.
Okay.
The
And
tenant
yeah,
before him used it, Kevin Reese.
I'm sorry?
Kevin Reese is the prior tenant to that, and that's what he used.
Okay, I don't care who used it prior to. I want to know if it's supposed to be in a residential unit or it's supposed to be in a commercial property.
Commercial outfit.
It's a commercial outfit. Okay, and you have evidence of that.
How would I even know anything that I to bring with me?
No, I'm asking you, I'm not saying you have it on you right
I've
now.
installed myself furnaces for Lansing Mechanical for a number of years, so I can tell you right now that it's a commercial unit.
What kind of furnace is it?
I can't tell you what it is right now because I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen it.
So you don't even know what kind it is, but you're telling me for sure it's for commercial.
I'm telling you, he doesn't pay his heat bill.
I'm not asking that. You're answering my questions. You're telling me.
This time.
Okay, but you're for sure that it is for commercial.
That's correct.
Okay, and so, did he ever contact you about a concern about the heat bill?
Just early on when I insulated the place back before.
Okay, so that was how you addressed it, by adding insulation.
Correct.
Vehicles, are you storing vehicles there?
This is a multi tenant facility, so it's all shared parking.
Okay, so you use that property too?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. It says,
You like to look up on
You're
Google
staying-
Maps.
I'm sorry?
If you want, you can look it up on Google Maps.
I don't need to look up on Google Maps to see if you're storing your vehicles.
I just
there.
want to say I'm not a liar. And
Okay.
I try to be as honest as I can be.
What about the hubcap on the
So
chimney?
that was placed on there by Kevin Reese, the prior tenant. It's been on that. See, it was a chimney vent, like he explained, for wood stove, so they have added heat to the place. And that hubcap's been up there for years, and it's never given us any problems. And if it's missing, because maybe of a windstorm or something, that he may, or maybe he knocked it down, I don't know. But that's only a 6-inch hole for exhaust stack. And it is protruded up, so there's no water leaking into it. And the cap was what fit on there, and that's what we used, and it's been there for many years. There's no holes in the roof. There's no flooding of the
Why didn't you get a
property.
proper chimney cap?
Oh, that's what we had at the time, and it wasn't an issue, so I could have done better, yes.
Okay, so, it's possible that a windstorm could have blown that off and an animal could have gotten this chimney. Did he call you?
It's a really high pole barn, so I don't know how they would get up there.
No landscape.
They could get on they get on roofs all the time.
Okay.
So
Steel roof, so I don't know.
it's a steel roof.
Yeah,
There are trees behind this property.
yeah, there's some trees, yeah.
They can get up there.
Okay.
Okay, he's talking about some plumbing and flooding.
So the plumbing and the flooding he's having is because he doesn't heat the bathroom. It has its own heater, but he doesn't turn it on. The plumbing, when you freeze plumbing, it's gonna break, no matter what
So
you
you're
do.
saying the pipes are bursting?
Yes. I've had to fix them numerous times, and each time I tell him, you gotta keep heat in the bathroom if you're gonna have water on.
Lockout.
That wasn't a lockout. The building was unlocked the one day. I put a padlock on there because I couldn't lock it any other way. And I left my phone number and everything on there for them to call me immediately. And then there it is. So
I
it's
just
not
saw the
official
I
lockout.
saw the text messages that you required a payment
It's not an official lockout.
before you
I did not. I locked,
get sent the
unlocked the
code.
building. They got the code right away before he even got any
That's
money.
not what the text message showed.
Yes, but I had no way to contact him for 2 years. He
What do you
blocked,
mean?
he blocked me.
Okay, so what does that got to do with the property, you locking out of the property?
It was because the building was unsecured and I secured it.
It was unlocked for 2 years?
No, just the one time I put the padlock on it. And then
But
it
you
was a
said
combination.
But you said you shared use of this property. It's a multi-tenant and you're there. How come you didn't see him?
Because he's never there.
Okay,
He's
And-
suspended by the state of Michigan for selling auto parts.
and you
right now.
can't, and you couldn't leave a note or any
I did
contact?
leave a note. I wrote it right on the thing.
So you're saying one day you went there and the property was open?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, what day, this was in August of this
I
year?
don't remember when it
This
was.
was in August of this year, obviously, because I
He
saw
had
the text
picture,
message.
so
And
I left
so,
my name and phone number
and
right on there.
so you reached out and said, what?
I said, if, you got, well, since I had him on the phone, I talked to him about rent, so. And then, of course, I gave him the code right away, so they can get back in there. Because they're not there all the time. They're only there,
What kind of lock is this? It was a padlock?
yeah, just a little combination padlock.
You put a combination padlock on there
You seen the picture?
because because it was left unlocked,
Left open,
left open?
yeah. Unlocked, open,
Is it a door that opens and shuts?
yeah.
Okay, and you don't have a key?
No.
Okay. And so the only way to lock it was to put a padlock on there is what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yes?
for me,
Oh,
yes,
for you, this was during business hours?
yes.
Why were you over there that day? To see that it was unlocked?
We're there all the time. So I got multiple buildings there in this property.
So you just went by to see
I was
him
trying
and
to
the
get a
door
hold
was
of
open?
them.
And the door was open?
Yeah,
Or
and I walked through and there's nobody there, so.
So you locked it?
Yep.
And then how long from the time you locked it before you heard from them?
The next day.
The next
Or
day?
actually, it might have been the same day, actually.
Same day?
Yeah.
And then he called you?
She called me or somebody called me.
Okay, someone called you, asked what?
With why is there a padlock on the door? I said, blah, 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 blah.
You said what? I don't know, we don't blah, 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 blah in court.
Oh, the place is loud.
Seinfeld episode.
Yeah. You said what?
Do you have a cup of water? My mouth is so dry right now.
You do not have a cup of water, but someone maybe can get you a bottle of
Oh,
water.
that'd be awesome. Anyways, yes, I explained that the building was unlocked or open and,
That you wanted to secure their stuff?
well,
Is
I
that-
want to secure my building.
Okay.
I don't want to leave it open. So anyways,
And you said, here's the code.
well, here's my problem. I got nobody to contact and you're not
Sir.
there. You're not there. You're not there. So I need somebody to talk to so I can at least talk about rent he's behind. I mean, he's got $48,000 in the bank account and he can't pay rent. So I don't know.
So that's what you talked about back in
No,
August?
no,
Oh, okay.
I'm
He called
mixing
because you
up
put a
my stuff.
padlock. Yeah, you can't mix it up with me because I'm following a story here.
Yeah, I'm trying
So,
to explain it, but
okay.
I'm way nervous and it's hard to.
Why? You got your attorney right here.
Well,
I mean, so just answer the questions.
okay.
You you blocked it because it was unlocked. They called you same day and you said, hey,
Here's your combo. Here
here's
you
your
go.
combo.
But how do I?
But
get
wait,
ahold
how do
of
I
it?
get my rent?
Yep. How do we take? Yeah.
And
It kind of worked out as a combination of stuff. So
okay, and what did they say about their rent? About your rent?
I don't remember then.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't.
Okay. But then this conversation must have continued via text message.
It could have, yeah.
It must have, because I saw the text messages
Okay.
where you were telling them how much the rent was.
Yep.
And that you wanted some money by a certain point,
Mhm.
to which they responded. And then you sent the code.
Yeah, but they never, they didn't pay that rent they said they were gonna pay, so what do you want me to do?
No, I'm talking about the order in which you gave the code.
Oh, I don't know. However, the combination came out is that how it worked out.
She's asking you whether or not you gave the code in exchange for money. So
Oh,
did you
no.
receive money at that time?
No, I
for
gave the
rent?
code before money was even discussed.
Okay. And then was all of my questions for him. Did you have any questions for your client?
All right, so all right, so we're talking $14,300 in back rent.
Right.
Has he ever put any money into any rent into escrow or anything else to your knowledge?
No,
During that time period? Did you ever set up a payment plan with you of some sort?
no,
All right. At any point, did he say, if you fix X, Y, and Z, then I'll remit payment for my
No.
back rent? No. All right, so it's simply for a period of whatever, 10 months or whatever this is, you received no rent at all.
it's been spotty. And I have a log sheet of, a spreadsheet of all the payments and,
Okay, and to be
Where
clear,
is this spreadsheet? Did you give it to your attorney?
he's got a copy of it, I believe, don't you?
Of like when he made payment, when he doesn't?
I
Yeah.
haven't agreed.
Oh, it's in the briefcase, that's right.
And he's been a tenant for about 13 years?
Correct.
Is has rent been, always been an issue with you, or have you, was it a time where you were getting payments consistently and then it stopped?
Oh, he was consistent for a while.
Okay.
There's a record of it. I mean,
Excuse me, ma'am, may I add some clarity?
I'm gonna need some clarity about why you talking out on my record. I need clarity now. I'm the only person here that needs clarity.
Oh, no,
I have, you can go back on mute, man, because I do have questions for you at the appropriate time.
okay,
Okay?
guys.
I tried printing it off 2 different ways. Would you like me to hand this to you?
Show him.
I got some magnifying glasses here if you like.
There's lots of I have perfect eyesight, thank you. There's lots of months here that have zeros. Is that to reflect no
Yes.
rent received?
That's correct.
Okay, and this would be 2020, 2021, 2022, prior to there being any, you reported an issue with the roof in 2024. This is all prior to that. Why weren't you paying your rent prior to that?
I mean, there were months that I obviously failed, well, not obviously, but there were months that there were some hardship on rent, and we worked out an agreement. But also,
What agreement?
basically that I would pay the rent, whatever I'm behind. You know what I mean? As far
Did
as
you ever
2020
catch up? 'Cause
Yeah, I
see
did
where
catch
you
up.
did.
I caught up or got close to catching up. I'm not sure. I can't really tell. I asked for that ledger multiple times. He told me the day that we talked to the lawyer that he would send me a ledger or whatever. But
You
I
can get you a
never-
copy now if you want.
Yeah, I mean, and then I can compare it to. I mean,
So you don't remember ever being at a zero balance past due?
I'm sure I was. Yes, I remember being zero balance past due and catching up on it.
In 2024, were you at zero?
I don't have a-
You don't know. Was he
I
at
don't have a
zero in
recollection.
2024?
I can tell you if I look at the
Okay.
sheet.
Yeah, opposed to that though, the rent agreement was because that he was behind on taxes and they were about to take.
None of
the
my
bill.
business.
I know, I understand that, but I was just telling that, I'm telling that to give the backstory of the increase. The increase wasn't ever an amended lease. It wasn't ever a discussion to where I agreed to for this to be a permanent increase. This was
You were
more so
notified that there was gonna be a rental increase?
by him by mouth, and it wasn't called a rental increase. He said that they're getting ready to take the building because of taxes. So
So he had to up the
17.
rent? Okay. Was he at a zero balance in 2020? I mean, because this rental increase took place in like 2021, so we're not talking about that anymore. Because if that was an issue, you would have been in court, or should have been in court a long time ago saying he unlawfully raised my rent. We can't come 5 years later and say,
No, he was behind on rent on 2024. I can't read the amount.
did he ever come down, was he ever at a zero past due in 2023?
No, he owed, I can't see it right now.
You can't see your own.
I'm sorry. I couldn't get the printer to print properly. I can show it. Oh, you know what? It's on my phone. I mean, it was like 60. Yeah, I could tell you here.
What about 2021? Was he at a zero balance then?
Here we go. 2021, he owed $1,100.
2022,
2022, he owed $5,000.
at the end of 2022?
Yes.
Okay.
And
At the
then
end of 2023?
he owed $6,500.
Okay. And then 2024?
He owed $3,900.
So that's probably what you mean when you say you got close a couple times?
not necessarily, Your Honor, because like I said, I asked for this ledger to compare it to the ledger that I would have had prepared for court to compare the numbers.
So
What
you
I told him
you
was
believe
that I
you
did
have a
not-
ledger that disputes?
Correct.
rent payments?
I do, because we had a lot of.
Where's
things-
your ledger?
I don't have it.
Why
I
not?
agree. Because I wasn't,
This is for failure to pay rent. You're supposed to show me, no, I paid rent here.
no, I understand, but the initial case was for the settlement. Well, not the initial case, but this second day was for the.
No, the original, the case is about non-payment of rent. That's what the whole case is about. I'm addressing the settlement because you said that you had an agreement, and that you showed me text message that showed that if he accepted the payment, that this would dismiss the eviction. I don't see where it was accepted. So we have to move forward with the case, which is why I was asking about your evidence.
Gotcha. No, I mean, I was preparing for a case, so I had evidence and counsel today. I didn't bring evidence.
No,
for
that's
that.
not the truth. You came before without counsel.
I know, and when I came before without counsel, it was to say that I'm gonna need counsel because they're not agreeing to the settlement that they accepted.
Okay, so you have money to pay for an attorney, but not to pay your past due rent?
No, I do have money maybe to pay for an attorney if I can get like a court appointed attorney or something of that
You
nature.
don't do court appointments for civil. This is not criminal.
Oh, I didn't know. But I was gonna try to source an attorney. I didn't.
Okay, you would have to hire an attorney. You have the option of meeting with legal services at your pretrial when we advise you of your right to appear with counsel. And I don't know if you met with legal counsel at the time or not. A lot of people don't do it, or they say, well, I'll do it later, even though legal aid has set aside the day to meet with them right then. And so today was the date reset, but you were supposed to have this evidence at the last court date. Your witness has some information or needs some clarity. Ma'am, can you unmute, please?
Yes. No, the clarity I was asking, well, not for me, was to give you, there we go. Was that he was saying that it's a multi-tenant building. It's a large lot that has separate buildings. So for him to go and lock the warehouse, there's nothing of his that was in there for him to go and unlock or to check to see if there was a lock on there.
Was the warehouse unlocked?
That I'm not aware of. The warehouse is, if no one's there, the warehouse is always locked, and there is security on the warehouse, like an ADT monitor on there. So if it was unlocked, it could have been locked. If someone would, like, it can be locked remotely. So I'm like,
so it had a remote. You could remotely lock it. Is what you're saying.
There's a security setting on there as well. But what I'm saying is, like,
so wait, what kind of door lock? Is it one that you could just press lock on it from the outside?
No,
okay.
It's a lock and key. Like, but there's no way that the building was just unsecured, that no one was there and he like walked into the building.
Well, how can you lock it remotely if it's a lock and key?
I'm saying, like, there's a security system on the building.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, the door would have been open. It would have alerted us.
Got it. Not that it could be locked remotely, but there was another security mechanism. What you're saying?
Yes.
But the door locked from the inside. It doesn't lock from outside. It's a regular door. You just twist it with your fingers. It wasn't locked. It wasn't open.
You said it locks from the inside.
Yeah, you don't need a key to lock it. It's not a deadbolt. It's just a regular.
Yeah, but if he's inside and he locks it, how's he gonna get outside? You mean
No,
like
you just
slam lock? Like he lock it and he can leave and it's locked.
Correct. You can lock, like that's the same way I lock. You can lock the door and close
and
the
then
door.
walk out and close it.
Is
that true?
I don't know because I'm not familiar with that, so.
Whose lock is it?
I think it's his building.
There was definitely an unlawful lock. I saw the text messages, so that's not even up for dispute. That was a shakedown. Anything else you wanted to share, ma'am?
Well, the second agreement that we sent that showed if he did not want to cancel to quit was the second attempt at payment. The first one it timed out and he requested another. He said that he called me and told me he was having trouble accessing the payment. And that's when I went on the app and saw that it had timed out. And so the last text message, which is the one that you saw, is me resubmitting it to him for him to accept the payment of the $4,000.
Were you the one who was talking to him about this agreement?
Yes.
To accept. Okay. What was the agreement, ma'am?
That he would accept the $4,000. So it would to stop the eviction. And that we would go forward with continuing the rent until that we found somewhere else for a warehouse, so we can just kind of terminate this once the weather broke, because it's too cold to try to move everything in the warehouse after all this time.
Okay, so that doesn't say that we're not, I'm washing your back past due amount. That's just I'm stopping the eviction, correct?
Correct. But there was a discrepancy on the exact amount because the initial amount from the eviction that was sent was only $8,000. From the original paperwork that was filed wasn't for the amount that he's now saying of the 14,000. So there's a discrepancy on the actual number of what is owed.
But this was filed in December, correct?
I don't remember the date that this was filed. Because Andy, it was said multiple times, I'm going to file if you don't this and that. And it was explained that the money was being held through the payment services. As soon as money is released, then the rent will be paid. And that the money was there. And he had got several payments since he initially said that he was going to file. So that's why there's a discrepancy on the exact number that may be owed.
This was filed December 9th, 2025. It says rent was paid through March 2025. And that the rent due was $8,600. I'm assuming you didn't get, did you get December rent or did that include December rent?
This existing payment now is all the way up till February. And
Did
then,
you hear my question?
I guess I don't understand your question.
There's a reason why I ask questions, because I want that answered. Did the $8,600 include December rent?
No.
Okay. And so, okay. It said rent was due through, was paid through March 2025. So after filing this, which would have been December 9th, because their rent's due what day of the month?
First.
Okay, so I don't know why it would not include December because it was filed after the first, but nonetheless, you're saying that 1,700 for December, 1,700 for January, and 17 for February.
Correct. Plus originally when we served them was back in August, I think, or September, I think it was.
Well, we're talking about when, from the time the notice to quit, it said the rent due now. It says the rent due on December 9th is $8,600. I'm trying to see what $8,600 is plus $5,100. It's $13,700.
Yeah, but it was from when we first, the 8,700 came from the first summons to demand for rent.
Listen, it says this is what's due now.
Well, not that summons, the summons before that. There's two summons.
You're talking about the notice.
Yeah, the notice to quit, that's what it is.
I'm looking at a summons and complaint.
I guess I don't know what I'm.
Well, let's just.
I'm looking at a complaint. It says as of December 9th, they owed $8,600. That the rent is $1,700 a month. If I take that and to your credit, that was actually, the court received it on the 9th of December, but it was dated November 24th. So December rent would not have been
It does take
included.
about 2 weeks to e-file.
So December rent would not be. So if I add December, January, February to that amount, that brings me without any late fees, $13,700. How much is the late fee? I'm assuming the late fee has been assessed.
To be honest, we didn't add a late fee.
Okay,
As a matter
but
of
you're
fact,
saying the past due amount is 14,000 and what?
one of the state 300, 14,300.
There is some discrepancy there.
Well, I mean, if to speed things along, we'll stipulate to a lower amount.
And
I
so
don't want to argue over.
I would agree. So the original discussion was a conditional dismissal. They pay a certain amount and then pay towards the back end.
Yeah,
or the
remaining rent that Andy was going to allow him to pay it over time, like over a couple of years, because he realized he probably didn't have that remaining amount. He was going to give him an additional 3 months to move out, just like the young lady said, because he has obviously a lot of parts and so forth there that it would take time to get him out of the building. So,
Gonna give him 90 days to move out.
yep.
He's going to, so he would accept the $4,000 give them 90 days to move out,
you know,
and what else?
and the remaining amount of rent would be just in a money judgment that he can pay over a 2-year time.
Well, that wasn't a conditional dismissal, then what was it that you all drafted?
I drafted a consent judgment.
A consent judgment, okay, and so that would, he would make payments on the rest of that over a timely period.
Yes,
Is
Your
the
Honor.
concern. Okay, okay, which I think is reasonable except for the lockout. Lockout is not going to abate you $13,000, I can promise you
No,
that.
by any means, that's not.
You
that wasn't-
hold over someone's property, you pay rent. I don't see a record here where you were consistently paying rent based on their ledger.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to provide my own lecture, but wasn't sure that I needed it today because you said just bring the text messaging and that it was going for dismissal.
You needed anything that you thought was going to support your claim. And so if you're telling me, no, Your Honor, I paid every month except for a couple of months, then there should be some evidence. How are you keeping records?
Because all of my payments are electronic and we have the records, but that wasn't, I'm sorry.
You keep a ledger, are you saying, or you just have electronic payments that were sent?
I have electronic payments that were sent that I would have to get the ledger for.
And you're saying you want me to give you time to now go through his ledger and then go through your electronic payments to check and balance what was and shouldn't have been paid?
Correct.
Okay, and because you dispute that you owe $13,700. When did he request a ledger? Why didn't he get a copy of your ledger?
I've given him a copy of the ledger a long time ago, before even the lawsuit was involved.
I'm not resetting this for any more time. And I don't even have any additional time to spend on this today. I mean, a hearing doesn't take this long. But it takes this long when you don't bring it out prepared and you don't have your evidence organized. It takes that long. And so you're saying you were prepared to even file a countersuit. The first thing that should have been addressed was, before anything else, was I don't owe you $13,000, or I don't owe you $8,600. That never came up until just now in this case. The other thing is, he has a ledger, he has records where he's receiving money. You knew this was an eviction for non-payment of rent, you come without a ledger. I gave you a courtesy of resetting it because you came without the witness who had the text messages, so that she can provide context, because she's the one who was supposedly having this communication, not you. So it's hearsay on your behalf. You can't tell me what her communication with him was. You weren't there.
It wasn't verbal, it was on text.
Either way, it's still hearsay because it wasn't you. That's why I had to have you bring her here. Because I do believe that you all entered into some arrangement where you believe that the case would be dismissed. But based off what she says, it doesn't sound like that was to wash away the past due rent. And she's not talking to him, not you, is what it sounds like for this agreement to send the money. I also don't see where it was accepted, and the language that was put in the text message was so specific. If you do not accept this, do not take the money. If you don't take the agreement. So that means that if he doesn't take the money, he's not entering into the agreement.
He accepted the money.
You haven't showed me proof where he accepted the money.
I did, Your Honor. I showed it to you last hearing, and you said that.
No, you did not. There's no proof that he accepted it. What you showed me was something pending.
No,
he said it
accepted.
He said it on the record last time he didn't accept the money.
No, he said that he did accept it, and you asked him why, and he said, I accepted it because he owes me money. Why would I not accept the money?
I can pull the record and see exactly what he said. There was a reason, because if he had just accepted it, then that would have been a wash. But now you're telling me that it was accepted and then rejected. How are you sending money?
Through the app, through the rent app that allows the landlord to accept payment. He clicked that he would like to accept this payment under those
conditions. And when you accept the payment, it processes to send it from your account to his account.
Correct. That's why I brought my account information in there to show that it was no blockage on my end from my account.
I'm not worried about the blockage. Okay. So it's processing, and then all of a sudden it stopped processing?
Correct, which led me to believe that
on the same day.
No, it was a couple of days after, and it stated that the payment. I'm not sure I gave you the printout. It said rejected or something.
She said it was rejected because something wasn't set up, insufficient information. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, it said that it didn't verify my identity appropriately, and that's why. But it said the landlord accepted the payment, but that it didn't transfer because I had to verify it, and I wasn't aware that it went to my spam email instead of my regular inbox, that they needed a secondary verification because of the amount. And I have
And you get something when he accepts the payment. Do you get an email? Telling you, or confirmation that payment's accepted?
Yes.
That payment's accepted?
Yes. It said landlord. It says landlord accepted.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I just reviewed the record. He did accept the money. And he admitted to accepting on the record last week. What you all should have done to save everyone time was a conditional dismissal based on that. He accepted the money, he entered an agreement to stop the eviction based on that. You can't now come in here and try to evict him after you enter that agreement. But you can negotiate a conditional dismissal. I'll dismiss it with these conditions that I just asked you about, which is what I was about to order anyways. So go execute a conditional dismissal. You can step out. Are you all set with her for today?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Are we done?
You're gonna do a conditional dismissal. They're gonna accept the $4,000, which the court is holding in escrow. And then you all will, the conditional dismissal will reflect, I guess, the agreement for him to have 90 days to leave, and the past due amount, because you're responsible for it. The past due amount, I will abate you 1 month rent for the month of August, because I think that there was an illegal eviction. So whatever the 14,000, what was it?
I think we stipulated the 13.
13,700.
We didn't even get the correct amount.
13,700. I went through it myself. 13,700 minus 1,700. So that's the amount that you all are working with now, $12,000.
Minus the 4, so.
There's 4,000 in escrow. The
The
4,000 will stop the eviction because that's what he said. And if you move forward with this other thing, you're gonna get an eviction on your credit. You do not have any proof that you have been paying your rent consistently. Even if you had a ledger that said, I paid some time, you're not paying every month. You haven't been paying, and you agreed to that on this record already. And you can't do that. If you hold over someone's property, you have to pay the rent. No one also is bringing me anything to show me, oh, the reason why I haven't put the heat on is because of this issue or that issue. It's your word against his, and neither one of you got any evidence.
That's what I'm saying, though, Your Honor. If I'm not inclined, as far as with the law or how the courts work, but if I knew that we were actually not dismissing the case today, like previously stated, then I would have came prepared with an attorney.
You didn't know we were dismissing the case. You didn't know you were dismissing the case last week. That was why you were entering this consent judgment. And then while I was trying to put it on the record is when it came out that you thought you had another agreement, but you had already executed and signed paperwork saying otherwise.
No, I never signed the paperwork, and that was the reason I didn't sign the paperwork, because it wasn't the terms that we discussed. So when I called and say, hey, I'm not signing this, this is not what we discussed. That was when we were in the court and they took me to the back and played the good cop,
That's why I'm
bad cop.
telling you now to go into the terms that you all have allegedly discussed. Because I believe that there was an off the record discussion and agreement, and it was supposed to stop the eviction. I don't know though what all that entails. I'm telling you though, based off what I heard today, you owe past due rent.
Correct. And that's why he gave me a settlement. Nobody ever settled a debt in order to pay the same debt. That wouldn't be the point of us calling
you. If you want, no. He's not saying he gave you a settlement, and I don't know that he gave you a settlement, especially for the things that you just shared about. What I'm telling you now is I've already abated you for 1 month for the lockout, because I believe he absolutely did a lockout shakedown because you didn't pay your rent. I believe that. But that's not how we do evictions here. But as it relates to these other things, I don't think you met enough of a burden for me to abate you for these other things, because it's plausible that the pipes were frozen because there was no heat. But you could have turned heat on in the restroom is what he said.
I can show you pictures of heaters right now.
I don't want to see pictures of heaters. I don't want to see pictures of heaters. I want to, because if the pipes are frozen, you're not running an electric heater while you're home.
Correct. I'd have to turn the electric heaters off because I don't want to burn the building down.
Agreed. So, but the temperature drops at night or when you're not in there, and of course the pipes are going to freeze. And this little hole that you're showing me is not why the pipes froze. It more likely was due to a temperature issue.
Yeah, no, the temperature issue though is due to him not insulating the building.
I see insulation all through the ceiling that you showed me caved in.
Exactly. So it's not doing anything because half of that is on the floor. We just started piling.
I didn't see any. You didn't provide me any evidence of insulation on the floor. You provided me evidence of where you said an animal got in and the things fell down. Those look like they could be pushed right back up. But that's all. That all of these things though that you showed me were recent. I saw bills from prior to any of these incidents where you have not paid rent.
But I've been there 13 years, Your Honor. He came with a ledger that just has 4 in it.
But you had a balance in those 4 years, every year.
As of recent.
Every year since 2021, you have had a balance. You were never at zero rent. You admitted, because sometimes money was, you still owe rent. You're gonna run a business out of a facility, you gotta pay for the overhead. If you don't want to be there, and it sounds like it's not a good fit anyways, because it sounds like you have all these issues, why would you want to still be there? And so you still have the right to bring a countersuit if that's what you want to do. You've not filed a countersuit, which per the court rules, you were supposed to do that already anyways. So you couldn't still go and file a new lawsuit. It's not a countersuit because it's too late to file a countersuit if that's what you believe you want to do. I don't believe that there was an agreement to wash your past due rent. I don't believe that was his understanding, which is why when he spoke to his attorney and his attorney asked about it, because he's going to draft up whatever this guy told him to do. He said, well, you guys didn't address this.
That's after you were already accepted to take the money and entered into the agreement. You can't be confused about the agreement after you accepted the money.
Yes, you can. And that means that there's not a meeting of the minds. If there's a meeting of the minds, then there's no confusion.
But how do I know that he misinterpreted something that was contractual afterwards? I mean, if you've already taken the money of a contract and then you call me back and say, I didn't mean it this way, aren't you already binded into that contract per law?
You have not entered the contract yet.
By accepting it and it says accept it, aren't you entering into that contract? The only problem.
I agree. That's why I said that I believe there was an agreement. I don't believe there was an agreement to wash you of past due rent of $13,000. You can't even bring the court $13,000 in damage. I asked you what was damaged when the raccoons or whatever. You told me maybe three headlights.
Mm-hmm.
That's a $13,000.
But I get nothing for it though.
You have to bring proof.
Which I would have if I known we were preparing for trial.
No, this is not a trial. This is a hearing.
No, so Your Honor, on the record last week when we spoke, you said that only thing you needed from me.
Did you bring it last week?
No, this is what you told me.
No, did you bring it last week?
What?
You bring any evidence to support your claims last week?
No, I didn't.
Because you didn't even bring her.
Correct.
And she's the one who has to say you brought no evidence to either hearing.
You told me that she could be there via.
No, I ordered her to be here.
No,
I said you need to bring her because you don't have the evidence.
Your Honor,
you've not come to any court date with evidence.
Your Honor, with all due respect, if you look at the transcript, I assure you, you said you two have to be in person. She can be.
I'm not disputing that she could be in. I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is she was not at our last hearing. No. My point is that you didn't bring evidence to the last hearing either. You're coming to an eviction hearing without evidence.
No, Your Honor, I thought that the text message was the evidence that he accepted the payment for the settlement. You stated that it was evidence because he accepted.
But you thought wrong that he accepted the payment, but that doesn't dispute that's not evidence that there was an agreement that you couldn't talk to in full detail about, and that And that if we have to have a hearing, you did not know when you walked in this door last week whether or not we were holding a hearing or not, because you don't know what the judge is going to do as it relates to this text message. The judge can say, I don't buy that text message, or you didn't, or the judge can say you didn't have the person who actually sent it, because it wasn't you. You didn't send the payment.
Right.
She did.
I know.
And you're not listening. You're trying to talk over me.
No, I'm listening.
You didn't send the payment. She did. You didn't come in here with any evidence to support, I have a counterclaim, and these are the reasons why we were entering a site agreement. Not that week and not this week. I'm not putting this out any further because I asked you on this record, what would be the basis of your counterclaim? And based off what you're telling me, I abated what I thought was appropriate for your rent. I gave you a whole month abatement for you being locked out for 1 day. A whole month. That was more than just. Do you understand that? The reason why I did that is because you didn't bring me any receipts, and this is what was damaged, and this is how much it costs. Because before you can even make some of these claims, you had a responsibility as the tenant to notify him. I had this issue going on. Can you repair it? You can't show me any of that. You can't show me that this was you contacted him and said this was damaged as a result of X, Y, and Z. I need to know if you can take care of that. You don't have any of that evidence. If you did, it's going to take me 50 hours for me to let you go through all of your phones to figure it out anyways, because I've been more than gracious with time on this. I can't give any more time. I have to do now what's fair. It is not fair for you to be in someone's property and not pay rent. It's not fair for him to now do an unlawful eviction just because you didn't pay rent. He has to file the eviction lawfully if he wants to put locks on the door. I could have just abated it. I could have sat here and did math and prorated it for the 1 to 2 days that you probably were locked out of the property. I gave you $1,700. They've also they believe they were owed $1,400 and some odd dollars. They agreed, we'll do 13 just to get this over with. You are winning. If you feel that you still have a basis for a lawsuit, you still have the right to go downstairs and file the counter lawsuit. On top of that, you're no longer getting an eviction on your record because they're going to execute a conditional dismissal with the terms that were willing to agree to, which was for you to pay the $4,000 to stop an eviction on your record. And that you would pay work out the past due, which is what your witness testified to on this record. The past due rent is going to still be your responsibility, and that they're going to give you 90 days to vacate. I think that's more than fair. That's the judgment of the court. You've got about 10 minutes to get that paperwork to me before I have to go. Yes, ma'am.
Will the correct amount be on, like, I guess the new paperwork of what is owed and how much?
Correct.
Okay, and any money that had been paid prior to that, is that going to be reflected on there? Because I don't know what's on that ledger, and rent has been paid. So my biggest issue is I never, like, as of now, I don't know what the exact number is because I don't know what he was saying has been paid or has not been paid. So that's just my only question. What is the exact number?
I said the exact number on the record, so he should be working that out. If the exact number that they're agreeing to is past due is $13,700, that includes the amount that they put on the actual complaint in November, plus rent for December, January, and now February.
Okay.
That's what brought the amount to $13,700. I have subtracted $1,700 for 1 full month of rent for the lockout in August. So, and the court is in possession of $4,000 that was paid yesterday into the court's account. So the court will release that to go towards the past due amount.
And if there's other payments that from December to January that's been paid, will that be deducted as well?
There's been zero communication in here about other payments, ma'am. There was other payments?
Yes.
One, she said it earlier that they have made other payments. He's the one who's supposed to say it. She's not a party to this case.
Yeah, December rent was
You
paid.
have radio? Have David bring them in here.
I have, because all of the payments from,
Wait a minute, ma'am, because you're a witness, you're not a party. And so the defendant was supposed to bring this information in, that he made other payments.
because I have all the records of the payments.
He's never once told the court that he made other payments.
Yes. So I just wanted to verify what payments are being accounted for the total judgment, or just to verify.
Give me just a moment, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am, what it appears to me is that you probably should have been a defendant or representing with the defendant versus a witness. Okay. We don't know where he went, the defendant.
Okay.
The plaintiff and the attorney for the plaintiff is waiting. I don't know if you have his phone numbers, if you could get him on the phone. Is that the attorney? What needs to happen, and I just told the attorney, is that the communication on Zoom needs to involve you, because it sounds like you're the record keeper.
Yes.
Is he here?
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant here? She's gonna call him. Here, it sounds like you're the record keeper. You're saying that there were some other payments that the defendant didn't bring forth in this hearing, so you all can make an accounting of that when you're doing your conditional dismissal.
Okay.
Got a 57 Chevy cap plugged in the roof, but the raccoons found the hole, and that's the truth. Landlord brought a padlock, called it secure. Judge said that's a shakedown, of that she was sure. 4,000 in the escrow, 13 in the hole.